Hey, Miss Marion here. Okay, so we are doing Unit 4, Lesson 10. So you should actually have your workbook with you. And so we are starting with our starter. These starters are actually in Canvas like we've been doing. So make sure that you go through, you answer these questions, and they are in Canvas because those will go into Skyward. So go ahead and pause, do your starter, and then come back to me. All right, turn to page 131 in the back of your workbook, and we're going to read our I can statements. I can identify ordered pairs that are solutions to an equation, and I can interpret ordered pairs that are a solution to an equation. Go ahead and write a sentence about these. Give yourself a number, so 1 I don't remember, 2 I kind of got it, 3 I did get it, and 4 I can teach it to my friend. All right, let's turn to page 72. On page 72, you're going to look at these ones. You're going to answer the question, which one doesn't belong? So I believe blank doesn't belong because of blank. You need a sentence on page 72 underneath this picture. So we can sit there and say, well, okay, maybe graph A doesn't belong because all of them are parallel. They don't cross. We can say that B doesn't belong because it only has 2 lines. All the rest have 3. We can say that C doesn't belong because they cross. All of them cross at one point. We can say the graph D doesn't belong because they do not cross. So there's many different ways you can actually say as far as which one doesn't belong. It's just getting our brain thinking about graphs because we're going to be talking about graphs today. So let's just think about for a second. I have $2 in my pocket. What might be in my pocket? And so we're talking about change. So we're talking about coins. What kind of different kind of coins can I have in my pocket that will add up to $2? So we're going to go ahead and you can think about it. Okay, maybe, well, okay, change. We can say we can have like dollar bills also. I can have two $1 bills. I can have one $1 bill, one $2 bill. I can have 2 quarters. I can have 5 dimes. I can have 20 nickels. Okay, so let's think about different ways of actually making money, right? Well, I have money and to adding up to those $2 itself. Because our next activity, we're going to be looking into this a little bit further. All right, on page 73, we're going to talk about Jada. So Jada told Noah that she has $2 worth of quarters and dimes in her pocket and 17 coins altogether. She asked him to guess how many each type of coins she has. So let's go ahead and let's fill out this table that we have. So we have it where we have 0, number of quarters is 0, number of dimes is 20. If I had 4 quarters, how many dimes would I have? If I had 0 dimes, how many quarters would I have? And if I had 5 dimes, how many quarters would I have? Fill out this table because we're going to go ahead and use it in a second. So go ahead and pause, fill in that table, and then come back to me. All right, so if I have 4 quarters, so 4 quarters is $1, okay, and then I want to make $2, but in dimes, that means I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to need 10 dimes. So if I have 0 dimes, how many quarters do I need to go ahead and make make $2 worth, right? 4 is for $1 and I have $2, so that's going to be 8. And then if I have 5 dimes, that's 50 cents, right? So then how many quarters do I need to have? If I have 5 dimes, that means I'm going to need 6 quarters to go ahead and do that. And let's go ahead and let's try one more. If I have 2 quarters, that's 50 cents. How many dimes am I going to need? Let's do 15. Okay? So now we have completed this table. We're going to look into it a little bit further. So if you turn the page to page 74, number 2, the question is actually on page 73, but the graph is on page 74. And this graph actually came from the table that we actually just barely filled in. Okay? And so it says, here's a graph of the relationship between the number of quarters and the number of dimes when there are a total of 17 quarters, 17 coins. Again, this is Jada talking to Noah. We're going to kind of look at it and let's answer some questions. So first of all, they want us to answer, okay, what does A represent? So A, if we look at it, is 8, 9, right? So what does that actually represent? That means I have 8 quarters and 9 dimes. And you should be writing this in your workbook also. Okay. How much money in dollars is the combinations represented by point A worth? Okay, so we have 8 quarters, 9 dimes. Pause right now, answer that question. How much does that actually worth? All right, so let's go ahead and figure that out. So it's 8 times, those are quarters, so that's 0.25, plus 9 times, and that's 10 cents. Okay, let's grab our calculator. Let's do 8 times 0.25 plus 9 times 0.10. That is $2.90. All right, now we're on page 74, and we're going to go ahead and answer the question. Is it possible for Jada to have 4 quarters and 13 dimes in her pocket? Explain how you know. So what is the answer to that? The answer is no. Okay, why? So if we have 4 quarters, that's 0.25, and 13 dimes, that's 0.10. Again, let's put this in our calculator. 4 times 0.25 plus 13 times 10 cents. Well, that's going to be $2.30. What are we actually looking for? Jada, she is looking for $2, right? So does this work? No, it's $2.30. She can't have a combination of 4 quarters and 13 dimes. All right, so now let's look at number 4. How many quarters and dimes must Jada have? Explain your reasoning. And remember, it has to be 17 coins, okay? 17 coins to make $2. All right, so what did you come up with? I came up with 2 quarters and 15 dimes. Okay, so let's try that. Let's do 0.25 times 2 plus 10 cents times 15. Okay, let's put it in our calculator. So 0.25 times 2 plus 0.10 times 15. Yes, that does actually make the $2. And we can actually see that on the graph itself. We can have it as 2, 15. That is the combination that works as far as the 17 amount of coins, but then also adding up to $2. All right, so let's look at page 75. Claire and Andre are making signs for all the lockers as part of decorations for upcoming Spirit Week. Yesterday, Andre made 15 signs, Clara made 5 signs. Today, they need to make more signs. Each person's progress today is shown in the coordinate plane. Okay, based on the lines, mark the statement that are true or false for each person. So as we kind of look at it, we're looking at this graph. We're going to answer all these questions looking at this graph itself. So before we actually answer any questions itself, we need to figure out the blue line, which one goes with which, blue and black, right? So it says Andre made 15 signs, okay? So he made 15 signs yesterday, and then he's going to go ahead and make more. So where does the line start at 15? Well, that's the blue one. So this is Andre. And then it says Claire, she made 5 signs, right? So this also starts at 5. So this is Claire. Okay. Now that we have both of these labeled, we can go ahead and figure out the answers as far as over here in the table. So what we're doing is we're reading graphs and we're understanding what they actually mean. So go ahead and answer these questions. So pause, answer these questions, and then come back to me. All right, let's look at point A. So at 40 minutes, I have 25 signs. 40 minutes, 25 signs. Is that true for Claire? Yeah, it is. Is that true for Andre? So does the black line go through that? That's also true. Okay. Let's look at point B. It says at 75 minutes, I have 42 signs and a half sign. So 42 and a half. Okay. So 75 42.5. Okay, so is that true for Claire? Yeah. Is that true for Andre? No. So it's going to be true and then false. Okay. All right, let's look at point C. At 0 minutes, I have 15 signs. 0 minutes, 15. So 15 is actually this one. Okay, so that's Andre, but Claire does not. So Claire's false. Andre is true. And then point D, at 100 minutes, I have 60 signs completed. So let's look at it. So, okay, so 100 points, this D. So is that on Claire's line? No. Is that on Andre's line? No. So both of these are actually going to be false. Okay, so we're understanding that all of these points, they can either be an answer to the solution or to the question, or it can be not an answer or a solution to the question. All right, so just for kicks and giggles, let's kind of look at this. You have 4 toothpicks makes 1 square, 7 toothpicks makes 2 squares, 10 toothpicks makes 3 squares. Do you see a pattern? Okay, so kind of look at it, see what's going on as far as what's adding to it. Do you see a pattern? And if so, how many toothpicks would you need to make 10 squares according to your pattern? All right, so what I notice is when we go to make this one here, I have the 3, okay, and then I'm kind of adding, like I have the square already, and then I'm adding 1, 2, 3 more toothpicks to it. So like at 1, I have 1. Let's erase that. Okay. So I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay. So if we have it where I have my first box, and every single time I'm adding 3 more toothpicks to add the next box itself. So this is kind of my pattern. And then if I want to make 10 squares, I am going to go ahead and kind of put 10 into the blocks itself. So I'm going to say 1 plus 3 times 10. Well, that would be 31 toothpicks. Now, toothpicks. You can always go ahead and draw this out if you'd like to. Keep on doing it and then count all your toothpicks. But these are just ways of looking at patterns, looking at ways of different things. All right, so today what we did today, we looked at graphs. So we're looking at graphs, we're seeing if they're going to be an answer or a solution to something or not. We noticed how Andre and Claire's, those 2 lines do cross, but then after that they don't, okay? So we're looking at solutions. How did the solution to the situation go? And so we can look at graphs. What are some advantages of the graphs? Well, it's very visual. We can actually see how it is. What are some advantages with tables? Sometimes you can actually find with the tables themselves, they're actually quite easy to look at also, but notice how we took a table and we went ahead and graphed the information. So a table and graph actually do sometimes go together as far as giving the same information itself. All right, so go back to page 131. Let's read the I can statement. I can identify ordered pairs that are solutions to an equation, and I can interpret the ordered pairs that are solutions to an equation. Go ahead and give yourself a second sentence and a number. So 1, I'm still confused. 2, I kind of got it. 3, I did get it. And then 4, I can teach it to my friend. So you should now have 2 sentences and 2 numbers for this lesson. If you did not understand something, please go back through it and see what's going on. All right, for today, we are doing lesson 10 practice problems. You can find those in Canvas. Make sure you go ahead and go through those. There are many of you who are still missing a lot of homework, so use this time wisely to go ahead and go back and go through your questions, your practice problems that you have not done. Hope to see you soon. Thanks. Bye.